Hello one and all, and welcome to Behind the Glass, your weekly automotive podcast hosted by two rather uninformed enthusiasts.
No.
I'm Sam from the YouTube channel Seen Through Glass.
I'm Tony from Gravelwood Car Sales.
And you can watch us each week. We hope you enjoy the episode. I'm always inherently nervous starting these car park chat episodes. Mainly because, Tony, I don't know if you agree, I feel like Paul's a bit of a liability when we give him a microphone. He gets a bit excited. He talks louder than he usually does.
That's why you've already turned me down.
Yeah.
Well, he just keeps talking. We can't get a word in edgeways. And that's us saying it.
Well, that's just quite nice. It means we get a week off.
Yeah.
Just throw questions at Paul and sit back and relax. Yeah. Everyone, if you've never listened to a car park chat episode before, this week we are joined by Paul Wallace of Supercars of London fame. These episodes were born out of a WhatsApp group that Tony and I have referenced for many years on this podcast, and we've all been in for many years. And it's just, it's the worst place to be.
Oh, it's toilet.
It's awful. It's complete trash. The conversations that happen in there, well, they should never be repeated, but for some reason we're going to repeat them here.
One week we should invite a listener into the WhatsApp group.
Oh my God, no. They would immediately cancel us. Our humour would not be translated outside of this group. Anyway, the format for these episodes is there is no format. There is no itinerary. There's no real discussion topics. Anyone can bring anything they want to discuss to the table. It should be about cars, but we've actually just speaking for 5 minutes over on our live stream that we do on Recast each week about Bulgarian food.
Yeah.
Woohoo. And I'm really hungry now.
So am I. Let's go. We'll find a nice Bulgarian barbecue restaurant soon and we'll go and smash some meat. Anyway, if no one else has any burning topics, there are two major topics that I want to discuss almost like straight away.
Wow.
You lead.
Okay, I will lead.
You planned?
Well, I haven't planned, but essentially...
He has to come semi-prepared to this. It is his podcast.
I can't describe. You know me, Tony. It's too out of control. So I literally have no plan. But 2 embargoes have been lifted on cars that I have driven.
Oh.
And they're quite monumental cars, and I think it's worth us discussing, mainly because all 3 of us will have very differing opinions on them.
Well, it depends what it is.
Well, first off, the Aston Martin DB12, which
that's correct.
We spoke about quite a lot in detail, but I was still under the...
embargo.
Yes. And the surveillance of Aston Martin.
You were nervous. I've actually listened to that podcast.
Okay.
And you were like, oh my God, what can't I say?
Because there was so many other media on that event. And I was just thinking, oh my God, if I screw this up, I will never be invited back to any kind of press event. So I was very nervous. But since then, this morning, time of recording, the Lotus Eletre embargo has lifted. And I drove that car last week. So I will let you two decide which do you want to discuss first.
Lotus? Come on.
Well, they're both piles of shit.
I want to start a Lotus so it sets the bar really low. Then we can go to DB11, it goes incrementally higher.
Well, firstly, DB12, Paul. And secondly,
from the back, who knows?
Fair point. How wrong you both are, and I will revel in this moment. And the only reason that I've been waiting to discuss these post-embargo, especially legally, I wasn't allowed to discuss them beforehand. But I also wanted the security of other media's opinions. Because what I'm going to say right now, I know, especially Tony, but both of you are going to fight me on. And I've now got the support of Steve Sutcliffe, of Autotrade, of What Car, of many outlets agreeing with
your thoughts.
Right. So we want to start on Lotus.
They must be right then.
Yeah.
I don't tend to do this on the podcast of talking about a video which I haven't released yet. But I am so desperate to discuss the Eletre. Those of you that watch the main channel as well, please still watch my main video when it goes live.
Pre-promotion.
Yeah, well, I guess, but I'm going to reveal everything.
Okay.
Lotus Eletre, the first electric SUV from the brand from Hethel.
Well, it's from China, isn't it?
Well, they now are owned by the Chinese.
It's a Volvo, no?
Well, no. So,
wait, it's an XC40?
That would get you excited. Secretly, XC40, Paul and I's favourite car. Neither of us own one, but we're desperate to. Volvo, get in touch. This follows a similar ideology, but it is ground up an entirely new and independent car. So you could say, oh, well, the way they build their chassis structure is similar to other Volvo products, I think, but it is a ground up brand new car. It is pitched to go up against BMW iX, even a combustion engine Porsche Cayenne,
Good.
Mercedes EQS, and mainly Tesla Model X.
Oh, good.
But with the Lotus badge, performance-wise, they were mentioning to me, if Lamborghini and Ferrari can make SUVs, why can't we? And I was like, look, guys, I love you. But never has anyone gone, well, if Ferrari and Lamborghini, why can't Lotus?
But they do make good... Hold on a minute. Let's give them a little bit of credit. They do make good chassis.
They make great drivers' cars.
Yeah.
Unbelievable drivers' cars.
Yeah.
What's the Colin Chapman quote? Was it simplicity and lightness or make it simple, make it light or whatever? I'm getting this wrong.
Yeah.
Something about power and weight.
Something about simplicity and lightness.
Yeah.
Glad you listened in that press brief.
The audience are going to rip us apart now. The most famous automotive quote of all time. Obviously, an electric SUV, the antithesis of that. I mean, it is... Everything about it is completely un-Lotus.
Well, because it's heavy for a start.
1,000,000%.
Yeah.
But I'm going to tell you that that's a good thing.
Right. What? You ain't got a choice. I mean, it's heavy. It's simple as that.
But
Can't get used to
it. Tony, list off all the reasons why you, I'm not going to say don't like Lotus, but wouldn't buy a Lotus.
Because they don't work.
Okay. Second.
Build quality.
The people that buy them are sandwich short of a picnic.
Okay, a little bit,
In general.
a little bit harsh. Basically, just bullying Lotus owners. Third,
They're cheap.
fourth,
Seb had one.
fifth.
Did he have one?
Seb too.
Seb's Lenny, yeah.
Yeah, but things have changed, mate. I know what you're just trying to line me up because I've not been in the car or seen the car yet. So all them questions you're asking me, because that new car, you've been in it, is obviously the complete opposite. But there'll be a reason for that because they've had to do that because of the way of the world now and the competitors. They want to go into that market. And how many times have we said this before? We almost said it with the Vora thing. Amira, yeah, that thing.
Close enough.
Yeah, they've had to make that like a mass-produced car because the world's changed. They're competing with mass-produced companies, and that's what they're going to do with that. What's that car called? Eletre.
So yeah, I wasn't setting you up for a fool. My
Yes,
point,
you was.
the point I was going to make is it is nothing like any Lotus that has gone before it, and I actually don't think it's a Lotus at all. Like there are a few other media and journalists who are like, well, but the steering is similar to a Lotus. I was like, oh, is it really?
What badge would you put on the steering wheel then if it wasn't a Lotus?
Volvo.
This is the point. No. You're loving the Volvo. It's Geely. The owners are Geely. And don't forget, in China, Geely make cars. It is a Geely. It's made in China. It's built by the Chinese. It's on a Chinese production line. It's a Chinese car.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put any other badge on it because by having a Lotus badge, it makes it relevant to, I think, us.
Right.
Because hands down, it is one of the best new cars I've driven. I'm not even joking.
Out from the rest.
Wow.
The Lotus badge, probably.
Well, this is it. So it is genuinely the best EV I've ever driven personally. Sorry, not the best EV, but my favorite EV that I've driven. Yeah. It's a fantastic car. Interior, build quality, everything. If it had a Geely badge on it, or arguably even a Volvo badge, or one of these other brands that we keep hearing of, BYD,
it would be less desirable.
Well, I wouldn't care. I probably wouldn't have gone on the launch. And the fact that it performs so well, all these things like that, and then has a Lotus badge, I'm like, oh yes, now I like it. So it's Tony, what we've been discussing for so long, that these iconic performance brands, as they move towards electricity or whatever the future of mobility will be for them, they're going to have to pull on heritage, brand value, badge value more than ever because, well, you lose all the other identity. There's no way to make an electric SUV light and simple, and by nature, it's overcomplicated and heavy. And so it's never going to perform like a Lotus. And the interior is phenomenal. Class-leading interior, 1,000,000%. Technology is great. It feels like you're in something from the future. It drives unbelievably well. I'm talking, as I say, performance SUV, that level. Urus and Cayenne GT, that level for sure. But it's not a Lotus. It is absolutely not a Lotus.
Because it works.
Well, because it works and everything that I just explained.
Sounds mega.
Yeah, I was going to say, that will probably help people want to buy it then.
Yeah.
But do you think... my whole thing is the people who should buy it or could buy it don't need to or want to know anything about Lotus. Like this is a whole new customer, theoretically.
That's the problem they're going to have, by the way. So that's the problem they're going to have.
Because if they're going up against BMW and Porsche...
No, so what they've got to do is they've got to try and somehow pull the German and the Land Rover customer away from them brands, and Lotus as a brand, apart from their community, who it obviously doesn't appeal to anymore, then that customer won't be buying that car no more. So then they can't rely on their brand so much for the pull, because they'd still want to buy the German car.
You've hit the nail on the head.
Oh, shall I go now?
Yeah. Thanks for coming, Tony. Yeah. This is my biggest concern for that car, is Lotus cannot do what they always did, like with the Emira, and rely on the old boys, right? Because we all know...
Pull on the heartstrings.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, you know, a Lotus customer is almost a Lotus customer for life.
Yeah.
And you know what you're getting, and that Emira is incredible, and that's Lotus heritage and history and everything we adore about the brand. But I feel like most existing Lotus customers, and we could be wrong, are going to go, I would never buy an electric SUV that's 2.5 tons, whatever.
Well, and also more expensive than any car they've ever produced.
Yeah, so...
Apart from Evija.
Yeah, Evia's quite a lot more. The one I drove starts at 105.
Yeah.
Spec'd up, it's 111 or 12.
Yeah.
So it's well priced for that car, an electric SUV performance. But
upper end of a Lotus.
Yeah, I think only their special editions would be that kind of much.
Because what they've done with the Emira, obviously, they made the car better to attract from other brands, but they've also kept the Lotus people happy as well. So they've made a modern car that drives like a Lotus, and they've almost tried to combine new customers and they've kept their old customers. But that Eletre thing, that won't happen.
I don't think so, which is a shame, because as I say, I'm not a Lotus owner, and I'm not a die-hard Lotus to the core of me, whatever. But I appreciate Lotus, and I like the fact that the Electra's got a Lotus badge. But I think if you're someone who's got an Exige or something even older, you're going to look at that and go, ugh. And at which point, how on earth do you convince someone, apart from the fact it's fantastic, that you should buy an electric Lotus, their first ever electric car, over a BMW iX or a Mercedes EQS, or apart from people like me saying it's unbelievable?
Surely it would just fall into the same category as all other Lotuses, a little bit like Alpine, where they have this sort of niche corner of the market where people that really enjoy driving, or they want to drive something a little bit different. And I was having this conversation yesterday at Silverstone, where I saw Emiras and I saw the Eletre. I saw two of them in really nice specs, because I think they're quite spec-dependent cars.
Very spec-dependent.
And they'll probably become a little bit more elusive on the road, but then that will be a bit more of a novelty when you see one. You'll be like, oh, look, there's a new Lotus. A little bit like a Urus on the road, it still catches your eyes. You still turn your head at it because it's a Lamborghini, but it's an SUV. You see that shape quite a lot on the road. And Lotus is the same. You see an Exige, you go, oh, that's cool. Or an Emira, oh, there's an Emira. Like they're a bit of a rare beast. So maybe the Eletre, in SUV form, will still kind of parade around as a bit of a Lotus to you and I that want to see the cool cars on the road.
But that's no good.
Because as a business model, no,
because they're going for the mass market now, so they'll need to be millions. And Urus is a bad example because there are millions of them. They are an SUV.
Yeah, but you'll still only see one a day if you're spending a lot of time on the motorway.
That depends where you go in the country. If you go to London, you see one every other car.
Yeah.
If you go to a city or any city, go Dubai, you go, Italy, or they're everywhere.
Urus is everywhere for sure. Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, like, it's an SUV that still turns heads 100%. Because it's a bit of a cool thing. Exactly. Therefore, the Lotus will be the same because you still turn your head at a Lotus.
The question will be, because obviously this is the start for them. They've got a saloon coming. They've got
surely
a small
they'll just sell them in
SUV
China.
Coming.
They'll just be all over China.
Yes. Yeah. So I think the China market will fly for those for sure.
They've got an all right population, I suppose.
And we did the launch.
What about America? We do well in America.
It's hard to know because Lotus have never had that strong a brand presence in America.
They love European cars, but
on the coast, in the canyons and stuff, they've all right, but. Again, it's such a big, bold move from them.
I didn't see an Emira in California in 2 weeks.
I'll tell you who they should be going after, the Lotus. Go after the Tesla customer. Because if it's a better product, and it will definitely be better built.
It's not hard.
No, but that's what I'm saying. And it's similar money. go after that customer.
But how? Like, this is what I mean. Like, you're a brand that has no history in this. This is your first ever, and they've nailed it. They've absolutely smashed it out of the park. As I say, like, I genuinely am having a conversation about getting an Eletre. Like, I'm that keen on the thing. I loved it that much.
No,
but
they've got him. Paul, they full on got him.
Yeah.
This isn't brainwash. This is
with one MP4 file that they've just pressed play on.
He does it.
Can I just say though? Can I just say? 'Cause
Literally done him.
firstly, the man from Lotus will love this. Well, I hope he'll love this, but I'm going to give him a shout out because
Rob.
yeah,
Go on, Rob.
go on, Rob. Rob listens to this podcast, so shout
Well done, Rob.
out, Rob. And when I turned up, it was very different to a lot of other press events where you landed, and at the airport the cars were lined up.
Sick. On the runway.
No, not quite. That would be really cool. There was a one-way experience. But no. So you literally come out of departures and there are all the cars. And they literally gave you a key and said, right, you've got a 20-minute drive to lunch. Like, figure the car out. If you've got any questions, we'll be at lunch. Otherwise, you then got a 3.5-hour route this afternoon.
Epic.
And literally, basically no briefing. Like, there's the key, which, by the way, was a credit card. It's like, off you go. Go have fun. And I was like,
That's perfect.
Yeah.
absolutely perfect. Like,
Yeah.
and Rob did give me a little bit of like, this is how you turn it on. That's how you lock it. Do you want to know anything else? And I was like, no, I kind of want to figure it out myself. Cool, off you go.
That's how you learn.
Yeah.
Perfect. A lot of people skip lunch because they were filming. I stopped for lunch because, you know, I
you
could
can.
film
Surprise.
I could film a duck salad. So I had a little bit of a chat with them there, but not really about the card. It's more about what they were up to as a brand and stuff. And then I went off on a drive completely by myself. It was a route, but just did my own thing. I had loads of time. I left lunch at like 1. The dinner was like at 8. So I had all the time in the world.
Dream drive.
And then when I got to the hotel, they'd set up this kind of like 2 conference rooms as an interactive walkthrough with experts from each of the areas. So the sound system, they had a couple of people from Dolby and from the
What was the sound
speakers.
system?
Oh my God.
Sonus or something?
No. The first ever from, I've forgotten the name.
Well, you better
is
get
a
scrubbed up because I'm going to start asking you some questions in a minute.
It is one of, actually, I think it's potentially the best sound system I've ever heard in my life in a car. It's got the new Dolby Logic Super Surround, blah, 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 the new technology that they're using for all new music. It's a bit like HD
it's not
music.
Atmos, is it?
Is it Dolby Atmos? I think it is a
It
Dolby
might be,
Atmos.
or lossless.
No, Dolby Atmos, I think.
What do you
Okay.
use as a benchmark as the best?
Bentley by 9.
Yeah, Bentley by 9
Yeah.
is got to be right up there. And then, to be fair, the iX system is pretty good, which I guess is a Harman Kardon system.
Oh, yeah,
The
you
top-
did
yeah,
talk about that. I've never experienced it, but
which was pretty good.
sound system's a bit more vibe.
Burmester in Porsche is good as well.
Yeah, but I don't
It
think
is,
it's
but in the big
spectacular.
ones.
Yeah,
Not in the
yeah.
that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Big
bigger than
Cayenne
that,
or something
isn't it?
like that.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
it's like, let me Google it because honestly, these guys were spectacular.
I would actually like to experience the Lotus because seeing it in photos that Sam sent us into the WhatsApp group, see how I spun it back to the WhatsApp group, the whole point of this podcast.
Brilliant.
Bet you love me being
Give
here.
yourself a goldfish.
Kef speakers.
Oh.
Their first ever.
Brilliant.
So, go
Never
on.
heard of them.
And all of the specs I felt or found from the launch were a little bit weak. Like, I think they could have made them cooler, but I suppose maybe a little bit more generic because I saw an all black one with red brake calipers, which obviously is up my street. But then there was like a crayon color with almost crayon matching wheels too. That from some angles it did look awkward, but it fit right in. Like it was in the driver's car park.
Oh, wow.
Next to like Lando Senna and stuff like that.
wow,
I don't know
fair.
why or who was turning up in
Yeah.
the Lotus, but it was cool.
Super cool.
All right,
But-
so let's have some headline questions then of what's what. Ready?
I hope so.
quick
Gosh.
fire ones.
Oh my God, I'm not a Lotus representative, by the way.
No, because the people want to know. Range.
The standard car 370 is their claimed. I did 250 miles across the 2 days. It felt like that was fairly good. I reckon in the UK on a daily use, 280 odd miles probably, maybe 290.
Horsepower.
In the standard car, 600, just over 600. In the R, which by the way, no one needs 900 horsepower,
Okay.
1,000 newton meters of torque, fixed ride, anyway.
Okay, fine. And the most important thing, price.
Yeah, so S starts at 105.
Right.
My spec, which I've done, which is not all the crazy, it's 111 grand. For example, I hate camera wing mirrors. I wouldn't have those. There's like a smart...
Is that an option?
That's an option. You can have standard wing mirrors or you have the camera ones. There's like a smart glass roof, which is like the old 612 Scaglietti technology,
yeah.
which you can do the opacity for.
A bit like the McLaren. Is that a bit like the McLaren roof? where it goes blue.
Yeah, exactly. But this is sort of a grey one. So there's
yeah.
a few bits like that which I'm like, I don't. Carbon ceramics, you can option like, I don't need that stuff. So yeah, 111k seems about right, or just over 110k for an Eletre S. The big one, the R, is 130 plus. I don't know why. That's the Tesla Model X Plaid customer. I don't know why you need all that performance. The bog standard car, I think, is maybe a smidgen under, like 98 or something.
Okay.
I don't know the bog standard car. Yeah, I mean, I say interior quality, unbelievable. Technology, fantastic. All the safeties. Like, it's just, I could not think of anything wrong with it. Ride comfort, unbelievable.
I want to go in one now.
But don't you get that with most modern cars nowadays? Like, you get in a modern car nowadays and you think, I really can't think of anything wrong with this car. But as we've said so many times before,
that in itself is a drawback.
The character's gone for that reason. You almost want something like your 360, like something that's not.
No.
Are you drunk, Tony? Are you drunk?
No, wait, like that's something that's not. It's not perfect, but it's got some character because it's not perfect. That's what I'm trying to say.
Well, somehow there's something about that Eletre which gives you something.
Right, okay.
I don't know if it's the feeling that you're in something futuristic. The steering is very good. The way, because the Eletre S, it's not like a class-leading electric performance. I think 0 to 60 is like 4.5 seconds.
Yeah. But how fast do you want to go on the road?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the delivery is spot on. I couldn't activate, and this is the one thing which I forgot to ask Lotus, a sound.
I was just about to ask whether it had a sound.
You know, most of these electric cars, I think outside EU regulation, they have to sound. So, but inside, even in the racier modes, I never got a
noise like you're doing a Taycan.
Yeah.
Which I meant to ask, which I thought was a bit of a letdown, but it's just a really nice place to spend time. The materials, the look and the feel, the visibility. Like I said, I did 250 miles, sunshine, motorway, rain, runway driving. Like I just wanted to be in the thing. And there's not many other new cars that have given me that thing.
Or EVs.
Or 100% or EVs. So the way I'm waiting to find out what the delivery time is now, if I was to put an order in now, because obviously a lot of people put their orders in a long time ago. Their first deliveries they're hoping to be towards the end of this year. So I want to find out if it's a year, like if I can get a delivery for next summer, I think I'd get one.
I'm sure they can line you up for next summer.
I'm sure they can. I don't need or want one now because I've got other plans in place. And I'll be interested to know what the leasing or the finance on them is, because they're now offering proper finance.
That's where they have to. That's where they'll get the customers. Surely, like if they can do a competitive rate and kind of back their product at the other end of the finance, Tony will know better than me. You'll then get those Tesla customers, because a lot of people got in Teslas through lease deals, right?
100%, because we all know to buy that vehicle is a disaster.
Yeah,
right,
but
like,
people
to buy any electric cars.
Tesla customers, a lot of them have come from this sort of cult following and love for Elon Musk, which Lotus, they don't have that kind of halo personality that can drive that brand forward, which is obviously a struggle. So you'll always get people wanting and desiring the Tesla brand to be part of the Elon Musk cult in a way.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's the one thing, like that they're then going to have to go and beat Tesla on to make it more attractive as an ownership experience is the money side of it. And they need to work on that.
It'll be fascinating. I look forward to you both driving it. I hope you share the same excitement.
We should try and drive one together. Like if I can get one from Rob, then I'll drive over to Tony's. I've surprised him with a few cars over the years.
You have surprised. You surprised me more with the ones you bought.
well, there you go, Rob. Not only am I going to be knocking at your door trying to get myself a lovely car as quickly as possible, you can lend one to Paul and Tony as well for a disastrous video. Let's move on. Aston Martin DB12. Obviously, we spoke about in a lot of detail. Now the reviews have come out, the embargo's lifted, my video's come out. Fantastic car. Do you care?
Yes and no. Yes, to the point that it sees as though Aston Martin are continuing to go in the right direction, because I think from new Vantage onwards, the excitement for that brand from my side and in general, like, continues. And the fact that it's better, and from the conversations that we've had, you've obviously said it's very, very good, very exciting to see where the future of the brand goes. And no, because I'm never going to buy one, because I still am terrified if I put an order down that I'd lose 60 grand in the first year.
And Tony, I don't have to ask you the question
Look at
because
his face.
we were speaking during the DB12 launch, and we were going back and forth. How's that hotel, mate? I want to go to that hotel. It looks lovely. And I said, yeah, it is. Do you want to know about the car? What car? So I'm here to drive.
What are you talking about?
I'm here to drive an Aston Martin. Oh, really? Which one?
His words were, "Are you interested to know what the DB12's like?" And I put, "No."
So interestingly, I think we have the exact same conundrum as we've just been discussing with the Eletre.
But hold on a minute. I'd like to add, I hope they do well, Aston Martin. As in, they're not my flavour of the month, but I do hope they do well. As the same with McLaren, you know, I hope they move on and they make a proper car. So, and I do like the latest Vantage. Don't like the tech in it, but I like it's got a bit of character. There's something
cool
about
car.
it. Yeah, it's a cool car. I wouldn't buy one, but it doesn't mean I don't
When you
have
had
to.
it,
I
when
don't
you
have
had
to
one in
like
stock,
it.
you drove it a lot, though. Do you remember?
I do remember he drove it a lot because he said
But
the
I had more than
ladies
one in
like
stock.
it.
Oh,
He used to say,
there you go.
That was the only
Every
reason why I
petrol
drove
station,
it.
yeah. The ladies like it.
Same with the AMG GTR, which is why I've had 4 of them.
Yet he's still single, boys and girls.
I'm actually not. Don't be like that.
Sorry. It was only winding you up. But no, so this is the thing, right? DB12, unbelievable. Huge step forward for Aston Martin. Genuinely on a level of aroma. But if you had 200 grand to spend, you're buying the Roma, aren't you? Do you know what I mean? Like,
I'd buy the Bentley.
Oh, controversial.
Someone likes losing
The
money.
Bentley is nowhere near dynamically as good as the
But this
DB12.
is the other problem that we had a loose conversation on it the other day, is that what they're trying to achieve with that car is not achievable.
No, it has been achieved.
Well, what categorically?
It has been achieved. It is as I say, I think it's that Venn diagram. It's exactly as we discussed a couple of weeks ago or last week on the show.
We didn't have a fight.
No. But you've got Bentley Continental and Roma,
Yeah.
and bang in the middle, overlapping 80% of both,
Right.
but not 100% of both,
Right.
is the DB12.
So they haven't achieved what they needed to achieve. They need to be
have
100%.
No, because it's as you say, it's impossible to be 100% of both. You can't have a Bentley Continental as dynamic as a Roma, and you can't have a Roma as luxurious, as wafty as a Bentley Continental.
No.
This is bang in the middle in enough that it encaptures enough of the luxury and the prestige and all this stuff like that as the Bentley, and is dynamically on a par of the Roma. So they have literally smashed it out of the park. But the problem is, you're still not. I still think they're going to. They're never actually going to compete
With a Turbo S.
no matter how. Yeah, well, but
So just go and buy a Turbo S, everyone.
But you're not getting anywhere near the luxury, and you're not getting any of the practicality. Turbo S is dead for practicality, but that is
Dead
dynamically car. Like
Yeah, dead car, yeah.
dead car. like the dead race we had. No, we'll come back to that. We'll come back to that. So I feel for both of these brands because I want both of them to succeed, and both of these cars are fantastic, but I worry that no one's actually going to buy either.
Put their money where their mouth is.
DB12, because how many, they sold tons of DB11s, but do you know what I mean?
They have, yeah. I saw a 23 plate DB11 yesterday.
Bloody hell, poor guy.
He's had some money off.
Yeah.
Poor guy. This is the last edition. This is going to go up in value. You're going to get this now.
It's the Zonda.
I mean, if
all
it's the
over again.
V12, are they going to do a V12 DB12?
They said 1,000,000% no.
Wow, really?
1,000,000% no.
But they said
because-
that about the Vantage, and then look what happened.
But because they said that whole car has been designed around the positioning and packaging of that V8, of where it sits, it's super far back and really low. And they said that the V12 will add about 100 kilos and ruin the entire dynamics of
I
the car.
bet they do one.
What I read into it is Vanquish or DBS.
Yeah.
Because we've got those coming, right?
Yeah,
We've got a
yeah.
Vanquish coming or we've got a DBS coming. Variant, I think that will have the V12.
Yeah. Because they said the V12, I asked about the Vantage when it first came out. Surely you'll do a V12. Because obviously the previous V12 Vantage was epic. Engine doesn't fit. Like literally, physically doesn't fit. So what do? They just moved the nose a few feet forward and it fit.
I think it all comes down to customer pressure, right? They basically worked out that there were enough people to pay stupid money for a V12 Vantage. They could do a limited run and get away with it. But the official line for now is categorically no V12 in the DB12. But the V12 is not dead. They said 100% the V12 is not dead for Aston Martin. And I know of a car being unveiled at Goodwood this weekend, which has a V12 in it. So there is,
Can we
V12
say
is,
any more than that or not?
No.
Okay.
Unfortunately not, but it's cool. It's very cool. Limited run. Not going to say anything else.
Be careful, Sam.
Are you going to Goodwood, boys?
Yeah, I'm there on Thursday. I'm doing the first day. I'm getting in. I'm getting all the exclusives, and I'm getting out.
What are the exclusives?
So the
manufacturer?
Lamborghini Le Mans hypercar,
Very cool.
and
Wow.
and from sources, it will blow the Ferrari visually
Cool.
out the water. And I'm very excited about the. Have you seen this Resto Mod Diablo?
Yes. Oh my god.
That's a good one.
Actually looks unbelievable.
Yeah, yeah. So,
How much is it? Like 2.5 mil?
oh my god, I don't know.
What?
No, it
Have
will
you not
be.
seen
It's
it?
a Resto Mod Lambo. Google the price. They probably haven't released the price. It's super cool, but it's a bit OTT.
Of course.
Well, it's a Lambo.
No, but it looks too computer design. Do you know what I mean? Like it looks too CAD.
So
AI'd.
Yeah, too
got
AI.
a problem with that?
Too
I
AI.
don't think so.
It looks like your car.
The
Exactly.
details are amazing. No, I think it's unbelievable.
Looks like
Look
your
at that
old
interior.
Murcielago. Mate, that is terrible. Looks like a Back to the Future car.
I think it's so
Yeah,
cool.
it's very cool.
But it will be all them. It'll be at least a mil.
Oh yeah, for sure,
At least.
for sure.
I can reveal my GT3 is fixed.
Oh, wow.
So
Yeah.
it works. Can I drive it?
If you want to fly down and drive it back, I'm more than happy for you to do so. Because at the minute, I literally still have nowhere to bring it back, despite, as Tony and I have joked about, the 1,000 offers I received via Instagram DM and email of people from all ages wanting to drive the car back. Yeah, I still haven't figured that part out, but I got an email this morning. Bonjour, the car is ready.
Amazing.
Okay.
Is it Seb called you?
Mr. Delaney.
How
So,
did you translate his voice to an email?
what?
How did you translate his voice from an email?
Translate his voice. What?
You just done a stupid voice, so the
You
email.
said you got an email.
It's from
this
a woman
morning.
from Elena. That's how she speaks. I've spoken to her on the phone. She goes, "Bonjour, Mr. Fan. The car is in the workshop."
She should hope so.
Yeah. So I am probably going to ask Porsche assistants to bring it home.
Damn right.
Problem is, they've said it's up to, not fully, but up to 6 weeks.
Yeah. We have a relay on it. They're
Like pushing it back.
No, but they've got to wait for an available truck.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Well, they'll do it in sections, won't they?
But what truck will that be, Tony? Is that going to be on like an open flatbed like by
Just put it
Jean-Pierre, who barely wanted to get me off the motorway?
If they do it in sections, if they do it like relay, yeah, it'll be like services to services.
Oh my
And then
God.
eventually it gets back here,
Oh my
completely
God.
different colour. And all
Yeah,
sorts.
ripped apart. Like, do I want to risk that?
What
I mean,
about
it's
that,
Porsche assistants though?
Open train thing. You can put cars on the open train back up to Paris or something like that.
Really?
Yeah.
I just don't have the time. Like, I genuinely, between now, the first time I could go down and fly again is like the 28th of August, at which point it would be back.
So if anyone would like to give Sam a few quid to go and get his car,
No, it's not a few
that's some
quid.
money.
It's not a few quid, mate. I haven't.
Well, you could charge them to go and get your car.
Set up a GoFundMe.
Give him $5,000. He let you go and get it.
Yeah, fair.
There you go. See,
20
Change the
grand.
tune.
We all know Sam's price now.
20 grand, you
Yeah.
can go and pick up my car and drive it back. Oh, willing to let you do so. But anyway, it'll be back. What else? What else has been going on? What do we have to chat about? Do we want to talk about the F1?
We can.
I think we should get into sport in general.
Oh God, please
Oh,
no.
no, Paul.
It's not-
Come on.
No, it's not a sporting
Come
podcast.
on.
No, because you will lose me.
Wimbledon's on.
I know, but we're not talking about sport in general. This is an automotive podcast. Let's talk about the F1.
I've got a rumor actually about a live event. Netflix's first live event.
Oh, I know about this. The golf and the F1 drivers.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the
No?
Grand Prix. The Grand Prix, which you were at yesterday.
How was that?
Do we think that was a good race?
I think so. What are you talking about?
good, yeah?
Yeah.
Loved it.
Shut your mouth.
You was in hospitality, pissed.
No, I wasn't. I
Necking cocktail.
I had a lot of Pims.
What? So you were drunk?
No. I could have driven home if I wanted to.
He's a hard man. He's a hard man.
But I got a taxi.
Do we think that yesterday solidified our theory that this is one of the most exciting years of F1, excluding Max Verstappen?
Yeah, I think so.
Because out of nowhere, McLaren,
Yeah.
who at the start of the year, Paul and I were absolutely ruining on After the Checkered Flag, have literally, I mean, they were contenders.
Yeah.
I mean, they probably should have had second and third if there wasn't a safety car. And whilst we all assume Max was walla cruising at the front, they appear to be putting him under some pressure at the start of each stint, like hard to know exactly, but it felt close, and it was one of the shortest gaps between first and second, or from Max to whoever is trailing him of all year. And topsy-turvy, the Constructors' Championship.
I mean, let's just go back to qualifying. Q1 was absolutely mental to have all of the cars within like such a, I don't know, it was probably a second and a half maybe. And at one point, I think Albon was P20 and then went P2. And the way that the track just picked up and everyone was in sort of fear of actually getting knocked out, and Perez eventually did. Q1, I was like, I mean, that could have been the race. It was so exciting. Q2 again was amazing. Q3, like, threw up all sorts of, I think, sign again, like we talked about this a little bit, but the sort of internal Ferrari issues between like Leclerc and Sainz, because I actually think secretly hate each other now. There's just no team orders whatsoever. But the race was a lot of fun. I did kind of predict that there would be like this dead spot between lap 5 and lap 15, I think it was. That's when I went off into the VIP car park. Always track the car park. But it was a mega weekend.
I'm sure it's a mega weekend. I would have liked to have been there for 100%.
You could have been there, Sam. I called you a week before.
Yes, I could have. But the race itself, I think, had its moments. But as I say, for me, it just proved that point that, remove Verstappen or don't remove him, ignore Verstappen. And we've got this unbelievable year unfolding in front of our eyes with every weekend a different team coming to the front.
Does anyone care who finishes second and third, though, in general?
I think we have to, because we all know who's going to finish first.
Yeah, that's true.
So if you go into it, I wonder who's going to win. Like,
well, we know who's going to win.
Give a poop.
Yeah. It's a different mentality now, but I think like from what I see on social media, it is becoming the norm to just look beyond Max Verstappen and see what's going on, because there was battles all over, and it was a properly exciting race.
But normally that is what happens in F1 though, doesn't it? The dominant team, most of the time they win every weekend. Mercedes spent 7 years doing it.
Yes.
So that does happen normally.
That is the normal de facto factor, of course, as a dominant team. Yeah. What we don't always get is what's coming this year, which is this topsy-turvy behind, like this big midfield from, second in the constructors down to 7th.
Yeah.
And every weekend it's a different team seemingly fast and genuinely fast, and you don't know, and the drivers are all doing really well and the teammates are doing, so, traditionally you'd have a top team, then 2 or 3 second and third were equally fast, and then a big gap back to 4th, 5th and 6th, and then a huge gap. So that's what I think makes it very exciting this year, is if you can just assume that Max is going to win and then look at everything else.
It's almost as though, like, apart from Red Bull, the teams don't fully understand these cars, where it's like, well, if we bring this upgrade, because we've seen Mercedes bring upgrades, we've seen all of the teams bring upgrades, and they still don't necessarily do a great deal in terms of performance. And then we saw McLaren at Austria all of a sudden put something on Lando's car and it worked phenomenally. All of a sudden they've jumped from being P13 and P whatever to then being within the fight for, I don't know, top 5.
But that's this week.
No, because then they put another upgrade on Lando's car and then gave Piastri all of Lando's upgrades. And look what happened to the car there. All of a sudden, they've jumped ahead of Mercedes again. And you're thinking, well, those guys are putting upgrades on. Ferrari are putting upgrades on. Aston Martin are putting upgrades on. And they're not getting those same gains. So if the constructors continue to develop these cars, we're going to see all of these jumping around. And, I mean, the only sad element of it is if Red Bull could just stop the development, because they're bringing an upgrade to this Hungary, right?
Yeah. Oh, but they're gone, Red Bull. Like there's no point.
I reckon in the sort of the last quarter of this season, you would see the teams catch up with them if they stop developing now.
Potentially, and they might stop developing because they might just focus on next year.
No, they're bringing an upgrade next race.
But for the last quarter of if you're clever as Red Bull, you seal the championship by late September, October.
I think maths now, it's like Max can finish P2 in every race and still win the championship.
But I also think that Red Bull car is still just cruising, mate. I don't think they need to develop that car. If they didn't do anything else on that car for the rest of the season, it'd still be the fastest car at the end of the year. It's miles ahead.
And Max would still win the championship. Look at Brawn of 2009. Dominated the first, whatever it was, 6 or 7 races of the year, and then literally went backwards because they had no money to develop. They still won both championships.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. I think, it's that's done. That's signed, sealed. I agree with you, Paul. I hope last quarter of the year, Red Bull are focused on next year, dominating that. Great.
and then they dominate next year.
Yeah, we get some sneaky victories. But at the end of the day, for me, it's just a fascinating battle past Max that I think keeps it exciting. But yeah, anyway, come on. Let's. You got to bring some topics. What else has been going on? What's been happening? What have you driven? What have you not driven? What cars have come in stock, Tony?
What cars haven't gone out?
All of them. The new M2's coming. Like, it's at the dealer.
Yeah, I drove that last week.
Ready? What do you think of that?
To be completely honest, I drove it in central London, so I didn't get above 20 mile an hour.
Oh.
Thoughts when you stepped inside? Does it feel new or?
It feels exactly the same as an M3 Touring. It's got
Correct.
that huge screen around. It's identical inside, and actually the car around it's bigger than the old M2, as you'd imagine.
Way bigger.
Yeah. But then to the point where I had this conversation with someone over the weekend who asked what it was like to drive because he was considering it. I was like, but when you're looking at an M2 for 75, 80 grand with all of the options, right? Or you could go and buy an M3 or an M4 in the used car market for 65, 70 grand, which is a powerful sort of more like, I'm trying to think of the word, better car all round. So the M3, M4 you would have over the new M2. Or if you wanted a fun, small M car, you just go and buy the old one. Like the new one is now too big, too heavy to be the baby track going.
You could say
M2.
that about the new M3 though, and the new M4. That really is too big and too heavy, really, especially when you compare it to the old car. Because you can just say, well, I'll just go and buy the old car then.
I think you have to look new on new because you're right. I mean, but that argument could be so used for almost any car. The new one.
Okay, then compare. So this is the comparison that I did on my video. The weight of the new M2 is the same as your F-Type.
Sure.
That is a GT supercharged V8 British muscle car versus what BMW originally set out to be the small M car.
But I feel like we're seeing this across the board, right? All cars getting fatter, getting bigger, getting heavier, all these kind of things. If you're just buying new, M2 is still the smallest, lightest M car.
It will be
from new. So
there won't be a lot in it, but it will be.
Yeah. So I agree with you, Paul, that it's moved away from what it initially was, and we all know, and this whole podcast audience know how successful that previous gen M2 Comp, M2 CS was. But
that's because of price, though. I think
pricing was a huge part of it.
They're unbelievable value. I still sell M2 comps all the while now because they're 40 grandish. And you really don't get anything for that money.
I think it's probably one of the best cars for under 50 grand.
Yeah, you really don't get a better sports car for that money in general. But like we've said before, back then, a Golf R was 25 grand. It's now nearly 50 grand for a fully loaded one. So things have moved on. Things have got heavier. Things have got better tech in them. They've got safer. Everything's changed.
And I think it's super hard when a brand has a really successful model and then replaces it or updates it. Can it live up to that secondary hype? Second gen GT4, Caymans in general, Golf, Golf R Mark, whatever. So
could have made it look better though.
Yeah. We won't know, I guess, for another couple of years whether the new M2 has been able to do what the old M2 did. I'm with you that on paper you're like, well, it's bigger, it's fatter, it's more expensive. Like, have they gone too far?
No, there's so millions.
All BMWs have. Like, if you're looking at a new BMW, they've all got bigger, fatter, and more expensive. But they're not necessarily worse.
Or they're doing what I think they're doing at the moment because of the way that the world is at the moment, and there's still a manufacturing problem. They're making less cars. They are still factually making less cars, these manufacturers. They're more money.
Yeah, just increasing the profit.
They're just increasing the profit margin because they're not knocking as many of them out. So that's what they're doing at the moment. And the longer they keep it like that, the values will half hold. It's when they ramp production up and they start doing 10 and 15
M3
grand off.
now.
What?
Everywhere.
Well, yeah, but there's lots of there's lots of cars.
Every BMW showroom has a brand new one ready to go now, even though they were supposed to be. Yeah, they were supposed to be these like.
Well, that's not true because the free BMWs that I deal with, they haven't got one in the showroom, not ready to go. So that's a lie.
No. A friend of mine is trying to buy one, and he's been to 4 BMW dealerships that all have them in stock.
Well, that's not. There's
a grey one, 2 green ones, and a black one.
There's 130, Paul.
So 100% of the ones that I've looked at have.
Right. It works. What is it? 80% of the time,
yeah,
100%
all the
of the time.
time.
No. We've discussed them through talking briefly in the fact that there are 70 of them.
There's millions of them. Yeah. There was always going to be. We said that before. I said them when they first come out. I said this is what the overhype was about. There was always going to be millions of them because people were ordering them to speculate. They weren't necessarily ordering them to drive. And they made such a big fuss about all these cars, that most unbelievable car, but they haven't ordered them to use them. They've ordered them to flip.
And I think that's the thing with the M2. It seemingly has lost a bit of hype and excitement because of the slightly controversial looks, because of all the things that you spoke about, Paul. Despite the previous generation being so popular and so successful, I think if you've got that car, you're probably looking at the new one going, I think I'm quite happy here. Like, I don't really want to pay 35 grand more for a heavier car that I don't really like the looks of. Like, I'll just sit where I am.
Or go used and buy the new M3 if you, and it's a better car.
But then there's another customer. There's another customer for it. It's not that customer then, it's a different customer.
It's not an existing M2 owner, it's a different...
a different customer. There's the existing M2 customer, we'll go somewhere else.
Fair.
These manufacturers, they don't just release a car on a whim. They know what they're doing. You know what I mean? And the reason why they are a lot of money, full stop, not just the M2, everything's a lot of money, is because of what I just said. That'll be the reason why. They're not making as many of them. And the world's a shit show at the moment, by the way. You know, interest rates are high. You know, their costs have gone through the roof. So the way for them to claw some money back is we won't do the big discounts. And there will be some M cars that they are doing, but it won't be like what they used to do, where they used to do 15 grand off. That's not happening at the moment. That will happen again when there's millions of them in the field. That's not the case at the moment. Yeah, and not going to be in the foreseeable future.
What spec is your car?
My M3.
M2.
Oh, black with black.
With black wheels?
Yeah, black wheels, ultimate pack, fully loaded.
Black.
Black. I've already got someone for it. I'm going to sell it.
Oh, good man.
Well, that's why I bought it.
Yeah, well done.
I mean, what's the point of me?
You're a flipper like all those M3 touring ones.
I'm a motor dealer. That's what I do for a living. So,
well done.
Yeah.
Good on you. Well, I'll be interested to see what you think. I'm driving that car in August.
Yeah.
Middle of August.
You'll have a great time.
Did you drive an auto or a manual?
Auto.
Yeah, I'm driving a manual.
Even better.
Yeah,
even better.
I hope so.
Like, my problem with the...
Really?
Yeah, my problem with G Series was it was all too smooth. Because obviously I had the old shape M3. Love that car. And it didn't feel like it was like stepping out on me. The gearbox wasn't shunting me. Like it's
not a DCT though. It's an 8-speed now, isn't it?
Yeah.
In the new car.
Yeah. And I much preferred the old generation M2 Comp, and I prefer the old generation F Series M3, M4.
Fair.
But manual on the new one will definitely give it a bit more personality.
A bit more engagement.
Way too fast for a manual.
What's the horsepower now?
It's not really.
470.
No, perfect. Sub 500, you're good.
Yeah.
Over 500, I start to see where you're coming from, but sub 500.
My R8 520, or it was in 09.
Oh, cheeky. Yeah.
Probably sub 500
Is that a manual?
Yeah, of course it is.
Right.
Manual V10.
I'd be mental.
See, I always think 400's enough. I always use the Cayman GT4 as the barometer, as that is enough for a manual gearbox. No more.
Not the best manual gearbox though.
I drove that 992 GTS with a manual. That was cool.
Yeah, okay, interesting.
7-speed.
Yeah, I don't love that 7-speed
just not
box.
changing gear all the way. Yeah. And it's a turbocharged car. You're just quickly doing that all the time.
Literally.
It did feel like that.
It's a little bit squidgy. It's a tiny bit squidgy, that 7-speed.
Yeah.
It's not got the same clunk as a GT 6-speed.
No. Yeah, it's not the GT3 gearbox.
Well, speaking of Porsche GT cars, one drive I've got lined up at the end of the month, which I think you might be a little bit jealous of.
Oh my God, I know exactly what this car is.
Oh, I'm not interested because I know what car it is as well. It's that thing you keep banging on about.
The weird car with a ducktail.
No. Spyder RS.
Oh, okay, yes. Sign me up. Let me hear it.
That's PDK only, no?
That's PDK only, but Paul is obsessed with the idea of the Spyder RS.
Can I buy it after you?
Well, no, I mean, I'm not buying one. I got a very nice email from a very nice man saying, would you like to come to Germany and drive the Spyder RS?
Oh, sick, you're doing it in Germany as well?
Yeah.
On track or on the road?
No, on the road.
Oh,
on the road.
nice.
So it should be super nice. I'm actually really excited.
Yeah.
Because I say I'm really excited. I know exactly what that car will be like, and I know exactly how I'll summarize it at the end. But what I'm really hoping, a bit like for GT4 versus 1718 Spyder, the Spyder element will allow me to forgive it for all the RS elements.
I know what that car will be like. It'll be an uncomfortable speedster.
Potentially. But don't forget, it's somewhere between GT4 and GT4 RS. Suspension, which I mean, like, it's
that's
much
the window.
It's in between. Drunk that Kool-Aid, Tony. I read that press release and said, that sounds good to me. I won't ask any more questions.
But the Speedster's a softer GT3, right?
No. Speedster.
Speedster
is identical to a GT4. They don't soften it off. 718 Spyder.
No, he's talking about 911 Speedster.
Yeah, the 911.
911 Speedster.
Yeah.
Is theoretically a GT3 with
correct
convertible.
Yeah. So that's but it is a softer version of the GT car. It's softer to drive. It's not.
But I wonder if the suspension is different.
I don't know.
I don't think it is.
Right.
I don't think.
But this is what I'm saying. The GT4 RS will probably be like just a slightly softer version of a GT.
No, but don't forget, you've got 718 Spyder and GT4. Identical cars.
Yeah.
Just the roof comes off on one. But the underpinnings are identical.
Yeah, fair.
So theoretically, the 4RS and the Spyder RS should be identical, but Porsche have come out and said they've actually made a few changes to make it a little bit more road compliant because they're aware, even though it's an RS model, that this is a lifestyle RS model. It's the first time they've put their hands up and said this is the first time we've offered a convertible RS. Yeah. And it's the first time we've had to think about what that owner might want because realistically, track isn't the only place to enjoy a Spyder RS.
Or anywhere.
No, but
that's why I like it.
But Porsche will tell you that a GT4 RS, a GT3 RS is for the track. They'll say, look, this is you can drive it on the road to the track, but that's where it should be enjoyed. That's their whole ideology. Where for the Spyder RS, they've come out supposedly and said, but to make this more enjoyable on the road, we've tried to sort of soften off just slightly. I think they've changed the gear ratios a tiny bit. All minimal changes. So fundamentally, I think I'll still go, this is so uncomfortable. but because I love the Spyder and the look of it and the noise, I think you're going to be like, wow.
Oh, yeah. Can you just imagine in comfort mode, auto, roof down?
Comfort mode, no, doesn't exist.
No,
roof down, just looking at the mountains.
Just buy a 718 Spyder and put an exhaust on it. Like, honestly, you'll be happy.
Because I remember when you drove the 911 Speedster, how much you wanted one of them.
That's still one of my hero cars.
It's every car he drives, isn't it?
No. There are many cars that I really don't like. Yeah. There are lots of cars
that gets massaged.
Actually, there are plenty of press launches I've been to where I don't like the cars.
Name them.
I can think of quite a few, actually. 720S, we've been there and done that, haven't we? More recently.
That was mad. That was, we all came out of that car, was like, that is effing mental.
I did a whole video slagging it off. It's like published on my YouTube channel, so you can go watch that one. But no, there was more recently I went on one where I didn't really like it. Oh, well, I mean GT4 RS, but that wasn't a press launch. What press launches have I been to recently? I can't think of many.
Well, the Aston Martin one.
I like DB12.
Loved it.
Yeah.
The Lotus loved it. The Ferraris.
All the Maseratis that you drove.
One of the Maseratis we slagged off.
Pura Sangue, I didn't absolutely effervescently. I said that there were a few things that I didn't get.
Right.
Not to us.
Yeah.
Argue that card.
Yeah. You were fighting me on here, telling me how bloody lovely it was.
I said it's not an SUV. That was my argument.
Right.
What else have I been on? Come on, there's something else that I've been on that I didn't
Loads.
Like. What didn't I like?
But that's what we're trying to say. We think you like everything. Every press launch you've been on, you love it.
Not as much as Schmidt.
Because you get massaged.
GT Black Series.
What about it?
Said it sounded crap.
Well, you said it's an unbelievable car.
I didn't realise that though until I drove it on the road.
Right.
On the track launch, I said it was boring. I want to remind myself.
Here he goes. Look, seen through glass.
I won't have my integrity
Have you lost
question.
some followers, mate? What's happened there?
Yeah. I had 1 million a few weeks
You
ago.
haven't got as many as JWW or anything.
No, not at all. Hold on a sec. What press launch have I been on? Hold
Oh
on.
no, you didn't like the Speedster.
Which one?
Aston Martin Speedster, but that wasn't a press launch.
No.
V12 Speedster was a load of crap. That was really cool. V10 R8 was wank. Urus Performante, way too firm. Way too firm. Said as much.
Dakar, loved it.
Loved the Aventador Ultimate.
Yeah.
What a car.
Dakar, brilliant.
Loved it.
What other press launch? Amira. Then I didn't do
Did
any
you
press
drop? What
launches
about
last year.
DBX?
Oh, piece of crap.
Yeah.
I
Amira.
refused to drive the 707.
Loved it.
Loved the Amira.
Yeah, loved it.
Loved it.
What about that Toyota? Did you like that Toyota, the GR thing?
Yeah, I did actually.
Yeah?
I thought it was brilliant, but I said, don't forget that it's a 30 grand car.
Yeah.
You don't, because the hype's a bit unreal. Like that.
So that's
AMG
all.
EQS 53 AMG.
Loved
like
it.
that.
So that's all of them.
Didn't love that.
Which one's that one?
No. I didn't love it. I just said I really liked it.
M3
What about
Touring?
the,
Loved it.
I don't drive cars I don't like. Go on. Koenigsegg, that was all right.
I was going to say, like, getting behind the wheel of the Gamera, surely.
The Gamera, what a pile of wank.
STO, loved it.
STO, loved it.
Loved
Great
it.
car.
Yeah.
Have you driven an STO yet, Tony?
No.
You need to get behind the
it's
wheel of an
unbelievable
STO.
car.
If you like the perf, you'll love the STO. You should go on track in it as well.
Crash.
RS3 I didn't. I want MC20, there you go.
Loved it.
MC20.
Didn't I? fucking hated
Oh,
it.
No,
yeah.
yeah.
Even I hate that car.
Yeah. Didn't hate, but was
Weird,
just disappointed. I'm going way back now. Look,
Yeah.
I've gone for miles. I don't drive that much stuff like that. But also, like, I just don't drive stuff that I don't like. If somebody offers me something that I don't like, I just
So
don't
we
drive
are
it.
right then.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah.
Why would you drive something you don't want to drive?
Julia GTI, loved it.
Yeah, man.
Which one? Oh, yeah.
Incredible car. Incredible car. DBX 707, they've been desperate for me to drive and I refuse to drive it.
You won't go?
I won't go.
It's a hard drive. Like, it's a.
But who cares?
Well, this
The
is
car's still crap.
the argument that I had when I drove it was it doesn't matter how good it is. You're dealing with a 10, 15-year-old Mercedes infotainment system that is god awful. The sound is pumped through the car, and I did the same thing that you did. I think it was the Maserati on your podcast where you put the windows down, nail it through a tunnel, and there's no sound to it, which I was infuriated by. And then you're buying that car, and then literally like completely random how much money you're going to lose. So that's why everyone just goes and buys a Urus, because at least your money's safe on that. And whether the Urus is as good as the DBX 707 or not, you're much safer to be driving that car and putting miles on and then not losing 50 grand.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
So they're fighting a losing battle, but also the interior is woeful.
I agree with you. I'm just not a DBX fan.
The DBX now, though, the original one's 100 grand, 115 grand on Auto Trader.
Doesn't make it any more attractive though, does it?
I know. I'd actually jump on that.
Oh, disaster.
You just snagged it off for 3 minutes.
Yeah,
now
yeah,
you're
yeah,
on
yeah.
one.
Just throw Apple CarPlay in there, you'll be fine. It's actually nice to drive.
And tell everyone on YouTube it's the best car in the world.
As Alonso says.
Yeah, exactly. Well, at least we drive cars and judge them before making random judgments without driving them, Tony. So at that point, we will wrap up this week.
Until he's got to sell it, and then it's amazing. Like the Taycan. Oh, I actually really like this car, guys.
I've always liked the Taycan.
We have posted to the Behind the Glass Instagram.
I've always liked the
clips
Taycan.
of you ruining the Taycan.
No.
Ruining it. I'll bring it up. It's on our Instagram page.
Not-
Behind the Glass __
No,
podcast.
not ruining the Taycan, ruining an electric car.
No, ruining the Taycan.
Nah, it was a
No.
Taycan. Yeah, it
Yep.
was. And RS6. When
Yep.
you had the RS6, you
RS6,
banged
great
on.
car.
Sorry. What about 992 GT3?
What
Do
about-
you not remember?
Yeah, when it first came out.
Me saying, watch this, Tony will go in on that 992 GT3. And
Yeah.
you did. When you went, I'm just not bothered. It's going to be a
because I
little
knew
bit.
how good it
It's
was.
going to be a little bit better than the last
Yeah.
one. It's
Well,
going to
it
be
is.
10%.
It'll be 10 to 50%. I just
that's
don't care like,
correct.
how much. It's not going to be.
correct.
It's not going to be
Yeah,
as good
but-
as my 3RS. Now every week, best car in the world. I'm never
yeah.
selling
Well,
it
it is for the money, but it was always going to be.
until you drove it. Also, you put your hands up. I got it wrong. I thought it was McPherson's suspension. I got it wrong. I've been slagging off the whole time. Yeah, it's got the McPherson suspension, just like my 3RS. I know how it will drive. You hadn't got a clue.
It's got the rose joint.
There you go, mate. So
That's not true. I've said all these things, so that's correct.
you've said them before you've driven the cars.
No, not
yes.
always.
Because
Yes.
he's banned from buying Porsches,
Yeah,
though.
literally.
I'm not banned.
Every time.
I'll just go and buy one. Thank you.
Mate, let's wrap things up there. This is rapidly going
No,
downhill.
let's keep going.
Yeah, let's do another hour. It's just getting good.
And I'm sweating. So, if you've enjoyed the episode, subscribe now, turn on notifications so you don't miss any future Car Park Chat episodes. Don't forget about all the live shows that we mentioned. Head over to the website, seethroughglass.online. You can find out plenty for more information. There's also a link in the description below. And we'll be back with you for another episode very soon. What are you pointing at?
You didn't like that 456 that you drove?
Yeah, I didn't like the 456.
What about that Hurricane Evo Spyder?
But yeah, it was all right.
Did you fit in it?
Yeah, just. I did actually. Yeah, that was all right, Hurricane Evo. I like Lambos these days. Anyway, we're wrapping things up. See you next time. Bye-bye.
See ya.
Bye.